everybody. Good evening. Welcome back to another episode of the Navs Effect podcast. I'm your host, Naveen Ganglani. Again, if you're a returning listener, thank you so much for giving our podcast another chance to earn your time in airwaves. And if you're a new listener, please subscribe, like, comment, leave a review if you can on Spotify. And we hope that you'll be tuning in to more episodes in the future. Joining me tonight, we're recording this Wednesday night, November 19, is Nico Rocha. We are going to react to the games that took place at the Mall of Asia Arena, specifically Adamson beating DLSU to keep their Final Four hopes alive, and the UP Fighting Maroons bucking a slow start, coming from behind, and beating the Ateneo Blue Eagles for the sixth straight time to secure a twice to beat advantage in this year's Final Four. But before we get into those contests, Nico and I will try to make sense of what's suddenly a very confusing, very much all over the place UAP standings in the race for the Final Four, with seven teams vying for opportunities. Now, two teams have already secured their spots, NU and UP, and five more contenders are left to make the postseason. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Okay, we're now joined by Nico Rocha. Nico is coming back on the podcast and quite timely because Nico was at Mall of Asia Arena earlier to watch the game. I was too.
Di na kami
Quite,
nagkita.
yeah, unfortunately not.
We
To be
usually
honest
see
with
each
you
other
though,
though.
I spent most of the second game in the lower box section. I went up there.
Ah, bakit?
Decided not to stay in patron. Wala lang, for a different vantage point. Sometimes I
Maganda
kind of
vantage
just
point
like
sa MOA, lower box.
sometimes I just kind of like staying in like different areas to get different angles and views of the game. And medyo unbothered din sa lower boxes sometimes compared to Patreon. You know, you go up there, you get a pizza, you get Auntie Anne's, you get snack.
Actually,
Tapos,
unbothered ka. Mas masarap kain mo doon. You're just like, okay.
exactly. Upo ka lang doon and then, you kind of have a roti yourself sometimes. But anyway, Nico, so just to recap the standings of the UAAP quickly. The NU Bulldogs are currently number 1 at 11-2. The UP Fighting Maroons are number 2 at 10-3. Then as follows, the USD Growling Tigers 7-5, LaSalle 6-6, Adamson 6-7, FEU then Ateneo, both of them 5-7. FEU currently owns the tiebreaker. And then the UE Red Warriors dead last at 0-13. They're the only ones who don't have a part to play in this chase to the
Crazy.
Final Four.
Lahat.
So the simplest thing right now in this early Final Four picture is the one and the two because
Mm.
that will be determined by this weekend. Now, just to note, remaining schedule Saturday, November 22 at Araneta, FEU takes on UE in the first game, DLSU takes on UP in the second game. Sunday, November 23, Ateneo takes on Adamson in the first game. And then NU takes on UST in the second game. That's at Mall of Asia Arena. And then on Wednesday, the final day of the regular season, the games that were postponed, originally supposed to be on November 9, UST battles with FEU. And then Ateneo takes on DLSU. So, how does the 1-2 picture play out? If the NU Bulldogs win against UST on Sunday and UP loses to LaSalle on Saturday, NU is the one seed at 12-2. If NU loses and UP loses, NU is number 1 because then it would be NU 11-3, UP 10-4. Now, if NU loses to UST and UP wins against LaSalle, both teams will finish with identical 11-3 records. But because UP is 2-0 against NU this season, UP would get the tiebreaker and they would have the number 1 seed. Now, what would happen if both teams end up winning? NU ends up 12-2, UP ends up 11-3, NU gets a number one seed. So that is pretty straightforward, right?
I have to be there. I have to be Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday. I've never done that na magkakasunod na game days. Usually may isa akong pahinga eh. Kasi there are some days na okay, wala naman bearing. Pero this second round, it's all must watch. Even the FEU-UE game. Because, di ba, if FEU wins, they still technically have a chance, di ba? I think there was
Mm-mm.
an article na sure kung sa inyo yun, na FEU could still rise to fourth or third. May sabi bang ganun? I saw something like that.
There's some
Na if
crazy
all things,
scenarios, yeah.
may mga crazy scenarios talaga. So from UST to Ateneo, this can all mix up pa, 'di ba? And I'm all for it. Eh, since Araneta at MOA naman, sige, puntahan na natin lahat 'yan.
Walang QPAV.
Oo, walang QPAV. QPAV, talagang nag-ano na ako eh. Kasi ang hirap ng parking sa QPAV, di ba? And also yung going out.
Yup, yup.
And
Not to
actually going in,
mention,
like that place is really hard to get to.
not to mention the data is not good at all.
The data's also bad. Tapos
Yeah.
nawala na yung pagkain doon sa car park. Ah, ano pang gagawin ko doon? Hindi kasi ako
So,
yung food doon eh, sa car park. Yeah.
speaking of QPAV,
Mm.
UST is currently in the driver's seat for the number 3 seat. Just take note, last year we had the UP UST 2-3 matchup in the final four with UP winning that. Now, UST is currently 7-5. They have a one
Mhm.
game advantage over DLSU in the loss column. I personally think that UST is one win away from securing the 3 seed. Now, that's not absolutely guaranteed, but it gets them close. How so? Well, UST has two games, like we mentioned, NU on Sunday, and then after that, FEU. If UST wins both games somehow, then they will end up with the 3 seed like they currently do now because they're the
Yeah.
only team with 5 losses. If they win one of the two games, they will end up with an 8-6 record, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, if they win one game, but DLSU loses two games and DLSU ends up with 8 losses, then UST at 8-6 will be the third seed. Okay, so what happens if somehow UST and DLSU tie? Because that's a possibility that what if UST, let's say, loses their final two games, they'll end up 7-7, and DLSU goes 1-1-1, they would end up being 7-7 as well because they're currently 6-6. That's where it gets a little tricky because UST and DLSU both beat each other one time each in the elimination round. So what happens when two teams split their season series? You go to quotient. How many points each team beat the other by? And that determines a tiebreaker. Playoffs are only determined to break a tie for 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 to determine the second seed or the fourth seed. But in the case of 3 and 4, there's no playoff. I just wanted to remind everyone of that.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
So, if you look at the elimination round matchups, UST beat DLSU by 9 points in the first round. And
They
then
did.
DLSU beat UST by 9 points in the second round naman.
Cancel out.
So the quotient is tied. You're right, cancelled out. So I did some digging today and I asked someone I asked Pong Ducanes on Pongski on Twitter, the Sultan of Stats, shall we say. What would happen if the quotient is tied also? He said the formula becomes points scored minus points allowed
Okay.
for the season. I checked the stats, and currently, if my math serves me right, UST has scored the most points in the UAAP at 1,046 through 12 games. They
Okay.
have allowed 992 points. What's the math for that? Let's calculate that. 1,046 minus 992 is 54. DLSU, on the other hand,
54.
through 12 games, They've scored 933 points. That's second. Sorry. Is that second in the league? No, that's not second in the league. Second in the
933.
league in terms of average because they've played 12 games.
Oo.
933, yes. But DLSU has allowed 934 points.
Oh,
So,
negative one sila. Oh.
they're negative 1. UST is plus 54.
Layo. Ay.
Malayo. Now, like we said, both teams have 2 games each left. So, will there be a score that somehow makes DLSU catch that or makes UST go down a level closer to DLSU? It looks unlikely because of the current gap, 'di ba? So, for UST, if you win one game, you're in pretty good you're in a pretty good
Yeah, okay ka na.
spot to get the third seed because then you'll end up having 8 wins and no one else will catch you except DLSU, and even if DLSU ties you like we just went through, UST has the upper hand. Now it gets tricky because DLSU 6-6, Adamson 6-7, FEU 5-7, Ateneo 5-7 are all in play. So let's go at it one game at a time muna for the weekend para hindi din tayo ma-overwhelm ng konti. Because
Overwhelm ka eh.
the
Parang,
math at 11:01 p.m. It can be a little bit of a brain fart. Um, I think safe to say if FEU loses this game against UE, now a lot of people will say, okay, that's unlikely. I can tell you for a fact, Coach Sean Chambers and FEU is not taking this UE matchup lightly. Why? UE is trying to avoid history. They're not trying to go winless. They're not trying to join the list
infamous.
of teams that
Uh,
yes, infamous, you're right, that went winless. And by the way, the last team to go winless was also UE in 2022. So UE is gonna give it their all. This is going to be their Super Bowl, so to say, against FEU. And FEU will be playing for their final 4 lives. The reason why is because if FEU somehow loses this game, they'll be down to 5-8.
mm.
That means their best possible record, assuming they find a way to beat UST later on, would be 6-8. But for a chance to make the final four, they would need LaSalle, Adamson, and Ateneo to all finish at least with 6-8 records. And that looks a little murky because LaSalle is facing Ateneo, Ateneo is still to face Adamson. So it's a must-win situation essentially for FEU. Second game that day is DLSU UP. We already talked about what's in store for UP. They can secure the number 1 seed. That's what they're playing for. But also, of course, they're likely looking to end the second round with the momentum they've had really since that first 2 losses this season. They've won 10 out of their last 11 games. So that's going to be a pretty competitive matchup. And I feel we're going to get the best out of both squads. LaSalle, if they go down to 6-7, then they end up in very precarious territory because then they'll be tied in the loss column with Adamson, FEU, and Ateneo. Now, this Ateneo Adamson game, true or false, Nico, on Sunday, this is both team seasons on the line. Do you feel that way? It
Oh,
kind of feels that way, right?
yeah. I also did the math eh, na of course, no, if Ateneo is gonna make it, they have to go 2-1 at least to have a shot for the
You
fourth
mean
seed.
2-0 because they have 2 games left?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, so 0-1 na sila ngayon. They have to go 2-0 the rest of the way para 2-1 tong
Mm.
last three. So they really have to get this win or else tanggal na. I think the team that loses here,
Oh,
matatanggal na sa race. Matatanggal na sa race. This is where the knockout stage begins na eh. Di ba? Starting Saturday. That's where you start removing some teams already in the equation.
yeah, because okay, let's just say hypothetically Ateneo loses the game. They would fall to 5-8.
Wala na.
That
Ano
means
yan?
for the chance to still make the final four, they'd need LaSalle to also have lost their previous game against UP, and they
Mm-mm.
would need to beat LaSalle themselves next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, that means Adamson will end up finishing with a 7-7 record. And then,
Adams.
exactly, then if Ateneo finds a way to. Oh wait, no, 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 no. You're right. You're right. Exactly. Again,
Oh,
the math. Kasi like if
magulo.
Ateneo,
Magulo.
yeah, magulo. If Ateneo ends up 5-8, that means Ateneo
Ano na?
Adamson will end up 7-7.
Yeah, angat sila.
Yeah, they're
Over.
out. Exactly.
Oh,
Oh my God.
'di ba?
Ateneo's
Big yung
season is on the
Sunday.
line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's their season. Literally their season. So
Oh, that's
parang no bearing na
crazy.
yung Wednesday for Ateneo. They could just play spoilers to Lasal, di ba? Parang sige, sirain na
Mm-mm.
yung season nyo. Bahala na, di ba?
Oh my goodness. And do you think they'd be ready for that kind of pressure given how they've played recently?
Oh, I don't know. They kind of have Adamson's number. Especially this year they only faced them once, no? Pero natambakan nila
19 points, yeah.
19 points, no? Pero feel ko dito sila makakabawi. But I feel like, unlike the first round, it's going to be a close game considering how
Mm-mm.
Adamson's on point, right?
Yeah.
They're locked in. Coach Nash is also locked in the press conference in the court. I love Coach Nash. I know Coach Nash. I always say
That
him
was the
every time we
most
talk.
energetic he was all season kanina.
Yeah, he's hyped. He's hyped. I know he knows what's going on right now, and also the pressure from the Adamson, what do you call this? The supporters, yung mga boosters nila. They're really involved. I know some of the Adamson boosters, and talagang ano sila, they really believe na kaya nila mag Final Four. As you should naman, no? I mean, magsusupport ka ng team, di mo believe na hindi mo, hindi wala kami tiwala mag Final Four. But um, Adamson is scary. We saw that a while ago against LaSalle, no? Na they were trailing majority of the time, then biglang, kami panalo, which is very Adamson of them. Very on brand of a Coach Nash-led Falcons team.
Well, I mean, it helped that LaSalle kept being like, hey, Adamson, here, take this win from us. I mean,
48%? Am I correct? 48% from the free throw
13 out of
line.
27. So,
48.1. My
second
gosh.
straight game, they lose by 1 point and they missed a bunch of free throws. It's
Also, Navs,
comical at this point.
in
Yeah,
what world did we guess that Mike Phillips would be 1 for 12? A big guy that lives
I
around
know.
the rim. Cortez only shooting 7 shots. Makalalag has more attempts than him. Yung Abadam na 2 for 12, okay lang, it's Earl. Hindi naman siya as same level as, Mike and Jacob. Pero, and he had a good game the previous day. So gets ko yung confidence ni Earl, but that's gonna level out, 'di ba? So nag-correct na yung numbers. But Mike, 1 for 12. Kala ko typo eh. Nirefresh ko yung UAAP live stats, ah. Kung
That's
1 for 12 siya
insane.
sa free throw line, gets ko pa eh. Mas maganda pa yung percentage niya sa free throw line. Not the field goals. In what world, di ba? Anong alternate universe to? Nangyari yan.
And what's crazy was 5 of 6 from the free throw line.
Exactly. Mas mataas yung free throw line.
Mas
What?
mataas yung free throws niya to his points production. Jacob Cortez, by the way, like you said,
I don't know. He's been
two
weird.
out of seven from the field, also 7 turnovers. But we'll get to that in a
Yeah.
bit because there's a lot to unpack in that game. So again, to recap, if Ateneo loses, they end up 5-8. If they lose to Adamson, they'll
Yeah.
end up 5-8. And Adamson will elevate to 7-7. And there's no way UST can get 8 losses because they already have 7 wins. So in that case, Ateneo would be out.
Mm-mm.
Okay, let's turn the tables. What if Adamson loses and Ateneo wins? What happens then? Adamson would end the season at 6-8. Ateneo would go up to 6-7. And then that LaSalle match on Wednesday becomes extra critical. Because if LaSalle loses to UP, LaSalle would also be 6-7 in this scenario where Ateneo wins. Which means the winner of Wednesday's game will eliminate the other. Now, FEU would still be in the equation here depending on how the results go against UST, but before that, UE. And also, there's a chance that UST can be a part of this
If
um,
they lose two straight.
because they're 7-5, diba? That's why we said medyo magulo ng konti because there's like multiple scenarios here, but we're trying to
Navs, that can
simplify.
happen. That can happen because
It could
of
happen.
obvious. It can happen. But
Yeah.
UST beat NU last game, right? Last round. No, no, no. And you beat
And you
UST.
beat USC, but it was a
The
close
other
game.
way. Close game.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
So,
a world na they could be 7-7 as well.
my God. So there's a chance that we could end up somehow with a four-way tie between UST, FEU, Ateneo. Not four-way, three-way tie. In which case, quotient will get the three seed, and the lower quotient, the two of them will face each other in a playoff. Right. And in this scenario, LaSalle would be 6-8. Adamson would be 6-8 also. So, Saturday pa lang yun. No, no, that's Sunday. Sunday na yun, bro. Weekend pa lang yan. May games po on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nico and I tried to figure it out with you guys listening to the podcast right now. We'll probably have more clarity after the weekend games are done. But safe to say, this is going to be not exactly Final Four level this weekend, but I feel like the atmosphere to some degree might feel that way because of what's on the line.
Mhm. And I'm checking all the scenarios here, and it's crazy. It's something that rarely happens. I don't remember the last time this happened, Navs. Na till the second to the last team, till the seventh, till FEU, na lahat may legit chances. So no one can actually predict how this will play out. Kasi hindi ano eh. Even the games na that's left to be played, you can't really say na, oh, automatic to, mananalo to, oh, automatic to. 'Di ba?
Exactly.
So, we need to be there. We need to be there. It's once in a lifetime, once in a decade kind of thing.
And I'm not sure that we're gonna have this kind of competitive and super close UAP season next year again because we have so many
May pasabog ka ba?
guys.
Off the
I'm not
record.
not right now, but there's some stuff going on behind the scenes. But also UST is gonna lose their veterans, and U is gonna lose their veterans. Mike Phillips is gonna leave LaSalle. Ateneo is gonna lose their one and done main guys. There's going to be some retooling involved, and I've mentioned this in recent episodes. The teams that look to be in pretty good position right now are UP and FEU. Adamson maybe, but is it Manzano's last year na?
I think it's last than he said, 'di ba? He should
I
declare for the
I
PBA
think
after
so
this one.
too. So he's a big loss for Adamson. So
He
they're
is
also,
definitely a big loss. Pero nandun naman sina
yeah,
Earl Medina, nandiyan naman yung sina Jaire
Erolon,
Tumaneng, you still have those
Montebon
rotation
I
of
think has
bigs.
another season, and of course
Meron
Ray
pang
Allen
Monty.
Torres one more year.
Grabe growth ni Ray Allen, no?
Super. But then you need a big if you're Adamson. You need a quality big.
I think bigs by committee sila. With Tumaneng, Perez.
They do have some notable young big recruits
Yeah, okay naman
with
sila.
size. I think they'll still be formidable. They'll be a Final Four contender next year. But my point is, there's a lot of moving parts for next season, so we should enjoy the season when we can, while we can, considering that it's super unique. When was the last time we had a season like this? Na you literally have to go down to the seventh team to count who are the Final Four contenders.
I don't remember na nagkaganito tayo. Wala talaga. Wala akong maalalang, date back ka to 2002, 2003. Earliest memory ko of UAP was year 2000 eh. When I
Mm-mm.
first started watching. Wala. There's always nagalaban lang for fourth seed. Yun lang madalas, Navs. Hindi yung, pati yung third seed na dadamay tapos from 3 to, ano ba tawag dito? Ano to? 3 to 7 can still change everything. So it's
L-
the best. This is the best lately talaga.
Last question. Is there a way that UST, DLSU, Adamson, FEU, Ateneo end up with identical 7-7 records?
May chance talaga. I ran, I asked ChatGPT. There's a possibility talaga. There's a
So,
five-way tie possibility.
so
So paano
FEU would
yun?
have to beat UE.
Mm-mm.
That would make them 6-7.
6 and
UP
7.
would have to beat DLSU. That means DLSU would go to 6-7.
Oh.
Ateneo Adamson. I'm guessing this means Ateneo would have to beat Adamson.
They have to
No,
beat
but then
Adamson.
Adamson would end up 6-8.
Kaya
'Di ba?
mag-five-way eh. Wait. So Ateneo. Ano ba
Wala na.
record
It's
ngayon?
out of the question na because Adamson and Ateneo have 7 losses each.
Oh, yeah.
So wala na.
Adamson,
Yeah. There's no
6-7.
five-way tie possibility na.
Oh, yeah, kasi next na pala Adamson, no? Yeah.
Yes, correct. Maybe a four-way tie, like we mentioned.
Kasi 6-7.
Okay, is there a
Adamson.
chance for a four-way tie?
FEU,
So,
Adamson, Lasal, Uste.
UST. So
Oo.
that would mean FEU sweeps the remaining games. DLSE goes 1-1.
Splits
Um,
Ateneo
y-
or NUP, no? Either or.
well, let's see. So UST would have to lose both their games to NU and FEU. FEU would have
Which
to
can
win both
happen.
their games to against UE and then UST. Okay, so if those happen, 7-7 yung dalawa na yun. And then, what?
Ateneo has to beat Lasal and Adamson to be 7 and
If
7.
Ateneo beats LaSalle and Adamson, and LaSalle beats UP, then Ateneo and LaSalle would also be 7-7.
Four-way tie.
Exactly. And there's so much
Ladlag
math to
Adamson if
determine the
ever.
quotient that we have to look at the stats to calculate it properly. Anyway, the point is,
Nag-math problem sa gabi. Nag-math problem eh. I'm
the
sure
point
other
is,
people are discussing this in their cars on the way home. Like, diba? Even dinner tables, they're discussing.
I'm sure may mga nagdala na ng yellow pad paper. Tapos,
Oo, kasi ang
sinulat
dami
na lahat,
nag-ano
di
niyan.
ba?
Or,
You know
just
what?
copy-paste, send to chat.
You,
Chat, analyze.
you know what I should have done before this is have my matcha from Cooper's, pare, for that extra brain
Ay,
energy. But,
sarap talaga.
I think my affair with matcha is ending na, pare.
Ah,
I think I'm
bakit?
going more to the brown butter cold brew. Sarap eh.
Ah, yung brown, yeah. Masarap. You can rotate naman. That's what I rotate
That's
it
true.
with. Especially pag nasa fill oil tayo. Di ba, nandun may
Mm.
Coopers doon.
But
So,
you know what
talaga,
I
I rotate.
also what I enjoyed recently also is like going back to I guess quote unquote a simple coffee order, hot cappuccino, and then I just put some brown sugar in it. Lalo na pag
Alam,
umuulan.
alam mo tawag dyan? So,
Ah.
expectant father drinks. Sabi ko, ano talaga to, Nanda na tong kasama ko. Hindi na to, magkakaanak na to. Yun yung mga, oh,
Oh my God.
kailangan mong pampagising.
I'm gonna need a lot of coffee from Cooper's once my kid arrives. But Cooper's
Solid
Coffee
talaga
House,
Coopers, talagang legit.
the
Like, we're not
best.
really gassing them up. It's just really good. Even before you got them as a sponsor, I was like, love Coopers. You see me drinking it when we see each other in Phil Oil, di ba? Nung mga summer, natin.
Not
Whenever
gonna
we're
lie,
there.
one of the biggest reasons why I like covering in Phil Oil is because I know there's a Cooper's house, Cooper's Coffee House right there. Not to mention my brother's burger pa literally next to it, diba? So, isang ice brown butter latte and a grilled chicken burger. Sarap, sarap.
Specific,
But, syempre, bro, I mean, I kind of have a routine and a system with what I order sometimes. Para I try
overthink.
not to think too much. Yeah, exactly, yeah. But Cooper's Coffee House, congrats on your new BGC branch. Can't
Oh,
wait to
they
check it out.
opened.
Yes,
They opened na
sir. It
pala.
just launched last weekend. And it looks great,
Congrats.
by the way. Also, Nico, another friend of this podcast is Daily Fantasy. Did you know that they have a promo to send people to Los Angeles for the All-Star weekend?
Yes, I do. Yun yung 'di ba? Na you just have to join a game na may
Coin
coin
game,
contest.
yeah.
Yung at least 10 pesos lang. Tapos that's one raffle na.
Yeah, 10, 50, 100. And by the way, you can put multiple teams, which would count as multiple raffle entries. So what are you waiting for? Make the trip to Steve Ballmer's Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California, and watch the All-Star Weekend festivities. Give yourself a chance to do that by joining Daily Fantasy's coin contest. Put that
I
fantasy
believe na
basketball knowledge at the
Navs, all expenses paid yan. 'Di ba?
Exactly. And
Hotel.
speaking of fantasy, real quick, Jokic is still a beast, pare. You know how I had so many people tell me this is the year that Wemby overtakes him. I even had some drafts, I kid you not, Jokic fell to number 4. In my one draft, he fell
Look,
to me at number three because someone
nag-fall siya
took
to
Luca
3.
over. I kid you not. Yeah. So it was Wemby, and then someone took Luca at two, and then I was at three, and I'm like, wait, I get to have Jokic? Guess who's number one in NBA fantasy right now?
Jokic pa rin.
Jokic. Durability, stats, everything.
Lahat,
Insane.
tres, assist, lahat. He gets a few steals here and there, di ba? Mga random blocks. Sabi ko, what?
And then the field goal percentage is like, okay,
54, 55. It's
55
high.
points on like above 60%. It's insane. Anyway, put that fantasy knowledge to the
Oo.
test. Have a chance to win a trip to Los Angeles. Okay. So let's go to the games. Let's go to LaSalle Adamson first. I'm gonna read some random stats to you, okay? Not random, because
Mm-mm.
I feel like you've seen this now. But in a game, LaSalle lost by 61 to 60. A game, by the
Hmm.
way, where they were up by five, if I'm not mistaken, midway through the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Was it
They
mga
shot
45, 50? Mga 50, 45?
somewhere along those lines, yeah. They shot 55-50, somewhere there.
Yeah.
13 out of 27 from the free throw line. And by the way, just a few days ago, in a game they lost by 1 to FEU, they shot 10 out of 22 from the free throw line. So in the last two games of the De La Salle University Green Archers, they lost by a combined 2 points, 1 point each. They shot a combined 10 out of 22 plus 13 out of 27. They shot a combined 23 out of 49 from the free throw line, which is just absolute insanity. This is a team that lost Mason Amos and Kian Baklaan, but they keep making it harder for themselves to win. They also shot 20 out of 67 from the field. That's 30%. Now, granted, a lot of that had to do with Adamson's defense also. There were multiple scenarios where Ronzon was playing really physical but effective defense against Jacob Cortez. And every time Mike Phillips thought about potentially attacking the rim, Adamson would build the wall to prevent the easy scoring opportunities. Cortez and Phillips went a combined 3 out of 19 from the field. Jacob Cortez had two field goals and seven turnovers. Had six boards, four assists, 2 out of 7 from the field, but seven turnovers. And some of the turnovers, I'm not sure if you were there na for at the arena as it was happening,
I was
were
watching
just
naman Pilipinas Live.
were just really bad. It was like he dribbled into traffic and the ball would fall out of his hands, go
So
the
it's like
other
rookie
way.
mistakes. It's not veteran championship point
It was
guard
very
level.
confusing mistakes. There were some turnovers too. He'd fall on the floor and Adamson would pry the ball loose and they'd get out and running. There were some turnovers. He'd try to pass the ball and it would sail to the opponent's hands. And there were two big turnovers also in that fourth quarter loss against FEU. Now, granted, Jacob has saved LaSalle a lot this season. Like in that
Yeah,
UE
yeah,
game,
definitely.
he was impressive in the game against UP, where LaSalle won at the end of the first round. But these last two games have been, uh, without sugarcoating it, they've been bad games for Jacob Cortez. Pretty bad games. And the bad games have come at a bad time when his team needed to win these contests to put themselves in better position for the Final Four. I was talking to Coach Willie Wilson after the game, and he agreed that some of the turnovers were off, but what he also said was outside of Cortez, who else can really initiate for DLSU right now that Baklaan's not there? Some would say maybe Makalalag, maybe Abadam, maybe Marasigan, but those guys don't really get to the paint like Jacob has the potential to do so. And Adamson displayed that if you prevent Jacob's penetration, if you make life really hard for him, and you prevent Phillips from getting easy scoring opportunities, you can put LaSalle in a very vulnerable position. Now, granted, LaSalle only lost by one, and they were up midway through the fourth quarter. You can make a case they should have won. Here's where I thought they really lost the game. You remember those sequences when they just got a bunch of rebounds, offensive rebounds?
Yeah,
So
I
Marasigan
remember.
misses a shot. Phillips rebound. Phillips misses the shot. Phillips another rebound. Phillips misses again. Phillips another rebound. Phillips misses another shot. Okay, a few possessions later, what was the score at this point? Here, Makalalag misses a shot. Pablo rebound. Phillips misses a shot. Makalalag rebound. Cortez comes in. Marasigan misses a shot. Makalalag gets a rebound. After that, shot clock turnover. 24-second shot clock violation. And
Daming
then,
gulo nun, no?
exactly,
This was
after
a game
Adamson
now
takes,
wherein
uh,
LaSalle out-rebounded them by 11 because of all those things. And yet they
they
still lost, no?
they won the possession battle. After
Mm.
Adamson takes the lead 55-53 on an Erolon shot from the corner, Makalalag misses a shot, Marasigan rebound, Makalalag offensive foul, and then Manzano makes a floater. After that, it felt like Adamson was just in control. Montebon ends up hitting two critical shots late. They go up 61-55. LaSalle still finds a way to rally. Cortez makes a bank shot, and then Abadam forces the steal, makes a three-point shot. And then after that, another Adamson turnover. Abadam has a shot to win the game at the buzzer, and he misses. So some might say, okay, but LaSalle rallied, they had a chance to win the game late in the contest. But the fact that they were even in that position after they had the lead, and considering, like you said, Nico, they won the rebounding battle, and considering what I said, all the missed free throws, they just make it hard on themselves. And it's happened multiple times this season.
Correct. And they shouldn't even be in that position. No? They could have won comfortably, right? If just the shots of Mike and Jacob were just kind of close to maybe 40%, 35 to 40%. But it was an anomaly, no? It's one of the worst games I've seen from DLSU. Yung free throws have been consistently bad. Pero in terms of execution, in terms of the usual games that we see from their stars, sama. And they only lost by one, di ba? Sayang. Kaya ang heartbreaker na mga nangyayari rin sa kanila.
Think about this. Adamson had 59 field goal attempts and 21 free throw attempts. DLSU had 67 field goal attempts, 8 more than Adamson, and 27 free throw attempts, 6 more. They also won the rebounding battle, like you said, 52-41. The turnovers, Adamson had 4 less turnovers than DLSU. DLSU had 23 offensive rebounds, but only 11 second chance points. This is a team that they have the talent to put themselves in position to win, but they don't have the killer instinct right now to close the games out. Which is surprising because a few weeks ago, when they were on their winning streak, they looked like they were finally peaking and looking like the LaSalle team, granted without the injured guys, that we expected from the preseason. And now they're in danger of missing the final four. And one key difference I noticed in the fourth quarter earlier was how, in a tight game situation, Adamson looked like the more organized team. Adamson looked like the better prepared team. And dare I say, Adamson kind of looked like the better coach team in that final quarter. Some of the shot attempts DLSU was getting. Now, granted, ultimately it's up to the players to be accountable, but some of the shots they were taking, step back jump shots, tough 3-point shots, shot clock violations, you're just wondering, like, where's the flow? Where's the system? Where's the off-ball motion to get yourselves the best chance to score and put the ball in the hole? Meanwhile, Adamson is spreading the floor, getting open corner 3-point looks against the DLSU zone. From an X's and O's perspective, the the right team won in that game, in my opinion.
Yeah. We know how Coach Nash really gets the most out of his teams, right? I feel like if you give Coach Nash the same kind of weapons that you see with LaSalle and mga levels ng Ateneo UP, might take them to the championship. Because ano eh, grabe to talagang ginagawa niya eh. He's really just maximizing the players that he has and bring them to levels that they didn't even think that they would reach. I'm a huge fan of Matt Erolon. I feel like that's a PBA first rounder in the upcoming draft. Meron siyang pagka LA Tenorio like ano eh, calmness,
The shooting capability,
the
no?
shooting capability. It's for me sleeper talaga yan si Matt Erolon. You can set up a franchise with Matt Erolon as your starting point guard. Steady talaga. Hindi lang siya flashy eh. In a way, he's a boring point guard. Pero he gets the job done. 'Di ba? Like I'm sure you agree with me. He's always been so consistent to see Matt Erolon. And uh, Adamson will always be right up there to make things interesting, at least to head into the Final Four. Ibang usapan na kasi once nagsimula na yung Final Four games.
Speaking of the Final Four, Ateneo could have strengthened their chances earlier. And when they were up 21-7
I
after the
wasn't
first
comfortable. Sabi
quarter,
ko, habol to UP. Alam mo yung kasaray na? Alam mo yung kasaray
the
na manood
most
ng UAP games?
inevitable thing ever, hahabol ang UP,
Hahabol ang UP.
exactly.
Tulog lang yan. Tulog lang yan. Yun nga,
But
konti-konti. Next thing you know, up. Ayan na.
so UP eventually goes on their run. And I believe the score was 60 all midway through the fourth quarter. Because, like we mentioned, Ateneo started off really good. They had the lead at halftime. They had the lead for a bit to start the third period. And then by the time we got to the fourth quarter, UP was more aggressive. Abadiano started making some tough jumpers. Same for Fertea. So the score was 60-60. And here's what happened. Here's where I thought UP got the separation to secure the victory. Abadiano misses a three-point shot, 5 minutes, 25 seconds to go. Naruka gets the rebound, put back, 62-60. Interestingly, right before that possession, Kimani Ladi comes in for Divine Adili and Ateneo plays small with Ladi at the 5. Okay, what happened after that? By the way, the Naruka putback shot was a three-point play. He made it, so it became
Yeah.
63-60 UP. Ladi misses a shot, Naruka turnover. Both teams Actually, no. Espinosa misses a shot, 4:58 left. Naruka gets a rebound. Stevens misses a shot inside. Another Naruka rebound. Naruka follow-up attempt. It's in, 65-60. Francis Naruka ends up getting a technical foul. But by then, 4 minutes, 37 seconds left. Divina Dili comes back into the game for Josh
Yeah.
Lazaro. So, in that minute or so that Adili has to exit the game, once again, Ateneo's lack of another quality big hurts them. Naruka gets 5 points. And if you look at the final tally, 79-75, UP ends up winning by 4. Now, a lot
Mhm.
happened, obviously. Bahay knocked down some three-point shots. Ladi did as well to make the score closer. Abadiano obviously hit the dagger three-pointer and had that layup with a little under 2 minutes to go. But that stretch right there, I thought won UP the game. Adili goes out. And by the way, it's not like this is Coach Tab's fault. You do have to give your big guys some rest as
Yeah,
well.
and let's not forget that Divine is coming from an injury, di ba? They cannot really run him to the ground. They still have to manage that.
Exactly. But then Naruka scores 5 straight points, gives UP
Yeah.
separation. The UP crowd is up on their feet. And once you give UP control of the lead with minutes to go in the fourth period, 9 times out of 10, they're going to find a way to close it out. They are one of the best teams I've ever seen. The Coach Golden Monteverde teams, one of the best I've ever seen in terms of having that killer instinct to close out battles and secure the victory down the stretch of the game. Abadiano finished with 18 points and 7 of 11 shooting. Naruka with 17 points and 15 rebounds. He also had 4 blocks and 2 steals. As a team, UP had 51 rebounds, out rebounding Ateneo 51 to 37. Turnover battle 11 for Ateneo, 12 for UP. So, what happened in the possession battle? Ironically, UP only ended up taking 2 more shots than Ateneo, 68 compared to 66. And the free throws, Ateneo, 20 out of 24. LaSalle can learn a thing or two from them. 83% from the free throw line. Meanwhile, UP 18 out of 27, 67%. So UP left some points on the board by missing some free throws. But because of their activity on the glass, including 17 offensive rebounds, which led to 23 second chance points, that's how you do it, LaSalle. UP was able to capitalize on Ateneo's weak point, and the Blue Eagles were not able to respond. And we mentioned in the last podcast, Ateneo ranks last in field goal percentage in the UAP. And once again, just 36.4% compared to UP's 41.2%. Ateneo is a flawed team. They were able to hide a lot of it early in the season because of the individual talents of their players. But now that more of those one and done guys are being checked by other teams and more squads are looking to attack the interior against the Blue Eagles, that vulnerability is on display, shall we say. And I'm not sure how you fix that except playing Divine Adili a lot of extended minutes
Yeah, I really have to
because
run him to the ground eh. Wala na kasing ibang choice eh. Hindi pa
pretty
ready si
much
Lars. I mean, we saw some
I
Philvang minutes in the past, but he's not ready yet, di ba?
he's not, but at this point it feels like
Kailangan mo.
they kind of have to trust him to be.
If there was a game
Bec-
to trust him, kanina na dapat eh. Pero hindi pa rin eh. Maybe
now
sa
now
Lasaldo, I think he'll get some burn.
now granted, that's also because Ateneo played really good for 3 quarters, diba?
Yeah, they did naman, yeah.
They were not in control, but at least setting the pace or playing the style that they wanted to. But once that physicality level was turned up by UP, particularly in the rebounding department, the disparity between both teams was on display. Last six Battle of Katipunan games, Ateneo has lost by a combined margin of 78 points. That's 13 points per game. It's
Nung sinend
interesting.
mo yung stat na yan, Nabs, I didn't realize na ganun pala kalaki yung mga losses nila. Kasi sabi ko, oh, talaga? I didn't realize.
It's interesting how quickly things turned around for both teams, no? Because
Started as
just
4-0. Since then, they are 1-for-7. They were
1-7, yeah.
1-7 sila. Past 8 games. With that win against UE only.
That's crazy.
Oo,
That's
di ba?
crazy. Now, part of that is
Wow.
the injuries really affected them and
Yeah, of
threw them
course.
out of their mojo.
Mm.
And that first win against FU did involve some good fortune in terms of tough shot making from Bahay in
May bahay.
overtime. But then there were also instances like that first round game against Adamson and that first round game against DLSU where they looked very impressive. But
Yeah, mapapaano ka like, oh yeah.
ever since they messed up that fourth quarter against DLSU, their season just turned around for the worse.
Such is life. Can't imagine what I'm feeling right now. I have to be unbiased. Like, oh yeah, you know. But I'm as a UAP fan, I just like how there's no boring game anymore. Diba? There's not much there's no boring game. You have a player that you like in every team, at least for me. It's we need more UAP teams.
If there's something to be positive about, if you're an Ateneo fan, it was the play of Jared Bahay today. 21 points, 5 of 14 not effective, but 5 of 10 from 3-point range. We knew that he had the potential to be a quality scorer, but to do it consistently and effectively in the college level was something I wanted to see from him more this season. He was slowed down by that shoulder injury,
Yeah.
and he's still not 100%. But given that he's doing this as a second year player, you can only imagine how much more that's gonna improve by like year 4 or year 5 if he stays that long.
Because Jared's a 4-year player. By the fourth year, alis na siguro yan. Because of, feel like skill level niya, kaya na niya umalis. Or, alam mo na, pwede siya magstay till the fifth and get Ateneo championship if by the fourth year, hindi pa rin, di ba? Sometimes they stay because, oh, I have unfinished business, which I really respect for players na, sige, laban.
Okay, quick question for you. Is UP now the best team in the UAAP? Based on quality of play. Let's not think about record. Let's not think about
Oh, based on quality
standings.
of play,
Quality of
by
play.
far. I think they're the hottest team right now, 'di ba? Based on
10 of
how they
11.
started, talagang yung trajectory nila from low to from being doubted 0-2, destroyed by UST in the first game. Sino may kalaban nila in second game? I forgot, but they lost also there. And then from there, when they not sure if this is gonna be okay lang to i-share. Cut mo na lang if hindi. Not since they made their offense simpler and played through Ray Remoga. Tsaka, yung ano, di ba? That's
Yep.
where things just started to look easy. Oh, putting the ball in Remoga's hands is ano pala, a viable strategy? What? So, from there, when I heard about that, it was it's the machine just started to roll. It's smooth basketball from what I've seen with this UP Fighting Maroons team.
I think what's crazy now, crazy good if you're a UP fan, is they're
Mm.
starting to resemble Gold's UP teams in the sense that they're attacking you in waves with different people once again. So maybe that could mean Remogat hitting two or three pointers in a quarter. Maybe that could mean Harold Alarcon closing out the game late in the fourth period. Maybe it could be a game like today where Abadiano and Noruka turn it up a level and they look like the best players in the court. Maybe it's a game where Gani Stevens is killing it on the boards and creating second chance scoring opportunities. Or
Kanina,
it
di
could
ba?
be
Fourth quarter.
exactly. Or it could be a game where Terence Fortea knocks down three or four three-pointers in the second half, like he did against DLSU, a game their only loss so far since the first two contests, which they,
Sorry.
to some degree, they should have also won because they were in
Oo.
control late in the game, diba? It could be Jacob Bela making energy plays on defense and sparking the team to fast break runs that could cut a lead. Because Jacob had the moment there in the third period as well, where his intensity kind of impacted the flow of the game. And if you're UP's opponents in the UAAP, maybe in the Final Four, that's where you have to be worried that, okay, start of the season, they look like they didn't know who they were yet as a system, as a team, who to play through. Now they've figured it out and everyone is finding their role in the team. And that just makes them much more dangerous.
Yeah, and when Sean Otter is getting end ones
Oh,
and
isa pa yun. Oh, yeah,
post
there you go.
moves 7 and 4 plus it's not gonna be your night. I know that when Sean Otter was getting end ones when he was backing down his defender, forgot if that was Laddie or Lazaro. Sabi ko, oh my gosh, this is a UP game. They're gonna win this. True enough, they won. He was 7 and 4 with 2 blocks and a steal, plus 12, third best in the team. And his confidence was sky high a while ago. Not the Sean Otter that we know from past games and past year.
It's also fitting that it was against Ateneo, diba? Because Ateneo wanted Sean Alter. They could really use Sean Alter right now. If they had Sean Alter, they'd probably be a two or a three seed. No lie. Because
Maybe three.
he
It's not like
solves,
Sean Otter's like a needle mover. He's
but
just there to keep the ship steady lang for
individually, he's
Ateneo.
not a needle mover, but he's exactly what they need. Another quality big man.
Yeah,
That's what
exactly.
Ateneo
Pero
needs.
so sure final for luck with
There you
Alter.
go. Yeah.
Yun lang naman. Sure final
Okay.
for luck.
Okay, last
But
question
three.
about UP. Which team from the final four contenders, and this could include NU also in case it's a finals matchup, which team should be most worried about facing UP, and which team should UP be most worried about facing?
Easy. Uh for UP, they gave up one against UST. That's the pressure's on them sa second game. Sabihin natin it's 2 versus 3. Kasi kryptonite nilang UST. Not kryptonite, but they really have a hard time against UST. The personnel of UST matches up well against the Fighting Maroons. If they lose game 1, baka game 2 makasilat ang uste. Pero if we see if okay, for by any chance UP moves on to the finals, they face NU. the most boring finals we're gonna watch in 5 years maybe. They're gonna blow out NU, I feel like. For some reason,
Wow.
kuhang-kuha lang nila NU. Feel ko, I don't know why. I don't know why. Whenever it's a UP NU game, I expect a UP win by 10 plus points. Maybe it's because of recency bias in the past years. But I don't know, they just really got their number. There are some teams na talaga nakuha lang talaga nila, and that's NU for UP.
I think the team that should be most worried about potentially facing UP if it comes to it is Ateneo.
Huh? If what do you mean?
Ateneo. Because
Like
Ateneo's
sabihin natin mag-UP Ateneo finals, like gano'n?
no,
Kasi 'di
Final
ba
Four. Let's say
hindi
somehow
possi
Ateneo sneaks to number 4 and UP gets the 1 seed. Sabihin lang natin. Kasi
okay, okay,
possible,
sige,
di
fine.
ba?
That could happen, that can happen. You
Yeah.
feel?
I
Parang they
think
have
you
Ateneo's number.
yeah, they have no, that's what I mean. They have Ateneo's number, so they would easily take care of Ateneo.
As an Ateneo fan, I still don't see how Ateneo can get one against UP.
No, that's what I'm saying. Ateneo can. It would be not an easy win, but I think UP would beat them in one game.
Yeah, siguro one. Oh, yeah, I think it's UP in one if they're going up against Ateneo. It's hard for me to say, pero I'm just pure basketball. I just feel like UP in one.
Yeah. But the team that I feel who could potentially push UP to 2 games, like you, I think that's UST. Just because
UST.
UST, they won't always do it, but they have the pieces to pull out the fireworks, or rather the firepower to put pressure on UP. Make UP more of a half-court team if you score on them often. And also the Akowe riddle is something that UP's had some difficulty with this season. Not that they
We saw
can't
it.
solve
We
it.
saw it. Yeah.
And I would still pick UP over UST right now in the series, but I think UST could give them the hardest time.
Yeah, the hardest time. We're not saying naman na ano na UST will definitely beat UP. It's more of just the hardest time. Yeah, tama. Oo.
Okay, if you're NU, who do you want to face the most in the Final Four round? Not the finals, Final Four. Is it LaSalle, Adamson, FEU,
Ateneo. You want to
Ateneo?
face Ateneo.
You think it's Ateneo? You think they?
When was the
You think
last
it's?
time Ateneo's beaten NU?
How about?
86?
No, not last
80?
year.
Not last year. 86? I don't
No,
remember.
wait, wasn't it? Ateneo didn't beat them last year.
Ateneo's the worst team last year, ata. Or second to the worst team.
Hmm.
No, they didn't beat NU. I don't remember.
I
I was there for most of the game. I don't remember celebrating against the white and gold.
maybe
Like,
Ateneo.
Ateneo's gonna be there. Oh, nice.
You know who I'd weirdly be a little concerned about if I was NU?
La Salle.
Adamson.
Adamson. Pwede.
Because take note, that first round matchup, Adamson was actually up a sizable amount before NU rallied late.
It was
And
the eight
then,
point lead. They had an 8 point lead last 2 minutes,
yes.
diba?
And then if Erolon doesn't miss those free throws in the second round matchup, Adamson probably wins that game against NU. And Adamson, I see some NU in them to some degree. You
What do you
know,
mean?
the slow it down, play at a proper pace kind of offense, disciplined defense, share the ball, system oriented, well coached. Adamson is like NU light this season. They take more 3 point attempts than does. That's the main difference because NU least volume when it comes to 3 point attempts, while Adamson is highest volume. But in terms of system and discipline, they're very similar. And the results show so far that Adamson's given NU a few scares.
Yeah. Yeah. I see it. Pwede naman din. Hirap, no? Hirap ng mga ano to.
Well, this weekend is going to be crazy. Okay, let's get to some mailbag questions. Let's take two
Nga pala.
questions real quick from the Navs Effect podcast community exclusive chat mailbag. Hmm. Okay, this one is from JP. Nico, other than Jake Figueroa, what makes NU tick on the offensive end?
What makes NU tick at the offensive end? You know when there's
Palacielo post-ups?
it's more of the Paul Francisco backbreaker threes na
That's
you just
true.
forget na they have a guy like that na nakalapit ka na, 4 points na lang. Next thing you know, Francisco hits two straight threes and you're staring at a 10-point deficit. This guy's been steady the whole year. He knows his role. Ang ganda ng napaggamit sa kanya ni na Coach Jeff. So that's one. Two unheralded guys, Paul Francisco and Mark Parks was picked it up in the
Agree.
second round.
The
Diba?
Jello
Mark
Santiago
Parks,
suspension has helped Parks and Francisco play more and contribute more.
Francisco's been playing more na since the start of this year. It's Parks that really
Parks, yeah.
benefited the most talaga. Na he got his
Yeah.
confidence. Kasi that guy he's very hesitant eh. Even Pinoy Liga, in spurts lang siya ginagamit nun eh. Pero ngayon, ano na, iba na siya. He's found his confidence, he's found his place in the rotation, and knows his role, and could tip the skills din. Those kind of players to from making it out of the final four to the finals. Mga could be, like hindi siya finals MVP, pero if there's gonna be a key stop or a key three, it's because of Mark Parks. He has that kind of vibe. So yeah, those two.
I
Aside from
agree.
mga, ano din,
I agree
aside
with
from mga
that.
Jolo Maransala din, they're loaded. They're
Yeah.
loaded. That's Jake Figueroa.
I agree with that, but I'd also add the Palacielo post-ups. Because when NU's
I love
offense
PJ
slows down
Palacios.
sometimes, give the ball down to PJ. He'll score in mid-range jumpers, hop steps, floaters, post-ups. He's got a bag in the post, and he can also get to the free throw line. And plus, he knows how to use what the defense is giving against him. So if Mike Phillips is guarding him, he'll try to use his body more and make space. If he's got a bigger FSA on him, he'll use his speed advantage. If he's being given space, he'll knock down 12-foot jumpers. Really a very important weapon for NU, PJ Palacielo. Okay,
Tapos may
next
Omar
one.
John sila na nagko-floater, no? 6'10",
There you
6'11",
go.
tapos floater. Yung, matic floater niya, nakakainis bantayan. Parang block yan.
Omar's the glue guy that keeps it all together on both sides of the floor sometimes. From Edward,
Matic 10 and 10 guy. Yeah.
what does the future hold for the Blue Eagles? Hmm. You go first.
The future, like, beyond this,
I guess, yeah, beyond the
the
season
future, this is beyond the season, no?
because they are losing Escobar, Lazo, Ladi.
Oh, depends on the recruits, man. Like, hindi pa ako sure kina Logan Baltazar. I have not seen those guys, in Team A action. So, makikita pa lang natin yan sa Phil Oil or something. I don't know who the coming recruits are, 'di ba? I only get it from you. I don't really scour and like, hello, sino bago nating recruit? Wala, hindi naman ako ganun. I just see what you report and then make my judgments from there. Pero medyo malabo. I don't think na sure Final Four luck. Pero I hope to see Kyle Gamber minutes, man. I'm a fan of Especially, kala ko magkakamesa siya after this summer league, di ba? You thought he would have some,
I thought
at
so too, yeah.
least, give him, like, at the very least, may 10 minutes na si Kyle. Wala pa rin. Doghouse pa rin. After what he has shown,
Mm.
again, wala tayo sa mga practices. Of course, the coaches pa rin have the final say. Pero as a fan perspective, makes you wonder, no? Ano ba bang kulang? Ano bang hindi niya napapakita sa practice na hindi siya malagay sa game? So, yun. I hope. So, medyo the future is kind of bleak. It's not that bright, but it's not that dark.
We're
It's,
considering also that Lazo and Escobar arrived, and that kind of took out some of Gamber's minutes, but also Espina started playing better.
yeah.
Last year na ba ni Espinosa?
Ayan, I don't know. Hindi ko alam kung last year niya na.
Man, oh
Hindi ko
man.
na clarify. We can clarify like hello. Message ko kami yung student manager, bro. Yan ang year naman ni yan.
Ayan. Someone earlier, sa press room, someone earlier was saying na si Ayan daw is Ateneo's version of D'Angelo Russell. What do you think about that
I think
comparison?
he's getting too much flack. I feel like Ian is way too Ian ba Ian? Ano ba? Any naman, no? How does he like to be
Espinosa na
addressed?
lang.
Whatever. Okay, fine. Ian na lang. So si, so si Ian kasi, I feel like he's getting too much flack. Okay naman ako sa kanya eh. He's way better this year
He
than
is
the
better this
previous
year.
years. Hindi ka naman, you won't rip out your hair when you see him holding the ball. I'm comfortable with him holding the ball. I want
The
him to have more
defensive pressure and the press sometimes, the full court pressing, he can be quite helpful. But
yeah,
Ateneo's future to me, it depends a lot also on the continued development of Bahay. Because
of
you kind of
course.
see that he's going to have the keys to this team. Not just as a scorer, but also as a playmaker, as a vocal leader. And that Ateneo connection is strong. He did come from an Ateneo high school program, and
Yeah.
we know, given Ateneo's history, that they tend to lead on these Ateneo homegrown players as their leaders, even in the collegiate level. We have Logan Baltazar coming in next season. Maybe Grayson Allen, maybe Chance Carlton. We'll see depending on how they
Grayson
develop.
Rogers.
Grayson Rogers. Grayson.
So I
Oh
go,
my God.
Grayson Allen, Duke
Grayson
legend.
Allen. If you guys had him, Mr.
Wala
Grayson
na.
Allen.
Kung matalo pa rin kami, fire tab with Grayson Allen din. Tapos talo pa
You
rin
know,
kami.
you know what's one of the funniest comments I got this season was someone
Ano?
being like, I can tell you for sure that if even if UE had Wemby, they would not win a single game. I'm like,
Hoy,
bro,
di naman. Feel ko undefeated sila pag nandiyan si Wemby.
I was like, I wanted to tell him, bro, if UE had Wemby, they would be the greatest team to ever exist in the UAAP.
Kaloy, grabe naman yan. It's
um,
either he doesn't like Wemby. I'm sure that person doesn't like Wemby. I'm sure that person has Wemby in their fantasy roster and he got injured. So, ang laki ng inis niya
no,
ngayon.
this was before the NBA season started, so it must be someone who
Ah, okay.
really didn't like UE. But I will
Joke
tell
you.
you this though. I will tell you this. There is one player I'm hearing about who may or may not go to Ateneo next year.
From a UAP school?
No, from the States.
From the States. Ano naman natin na ngayon? One and
So
done?
I think he might be a one and done. So
Hmm.
let's see. We'll see. That
Can you give me
is
a position? Walang alam at all. Like, just a position. What do you
he'll
know
end up
the...
playing forward in the Philippines.
So parang ano,
He's like
siguro
six
pamalit
foot
kay
six
Manny.
though, if I'm not.
Oh,
Yeah,
parang
kind of like a
pamalit
Kaimani
siguro.
replacement. Yeah,
Doesn't have UP have this 7-footer si Deontay Miles?
Deontay. Yeah, he
Who's
is
gonna
a
stop him? So
beast.
you think a 6'6" guy from Ateneo is gonna stop him? Doon ako babalik eh. So who's gonna stop
Lars
Miles?
Fjellvang, bro.
Oh yeah, I love myself some Lars Philbin. Dude's a shooter. No, legit, I love Lars. He's solid. Solid siya, pero has to mature fast. Because we need some bigs. We need bigs.
You know what? Get that guy in the weight room this season, and I feel like he could be. He's already a strong kid. Now imagine with
He's strong kid.
like a whole off season for like strength and conditioning. I think he'll be a rotation player by next
The
year.
Sean Kitevis siya, ano no, workout routine, no? Paano mo kay SQ?
O papunta mo na sa flex recovery then.
Cebuano pa naman yung dalawang yan. Oh, paano
There
mo
you
kay
go.
ano,
There you go.
SQ?
A lot of Ateneo royalty in the game today. Kiefer, Eliza, Kwame, SQ was there. And then
Bakit nga? Ano
UP
ba meron? Wala
side,
lang. Gusto lang nila mag-support.
QM, QMB and Francis were there. I
They
think
were
it's
also
also
there.
because of the FIBA break. So a lot of the people from out of town are,
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, Gilas coming up against Guam. Should be
Sure
fun.
win yun. Ay, sure, sure win yun. It's more of, pwede ba ibabad natin yung mga players natin? Pakibabad naman. Yung
At the
mga bata,
Blue Eagle Gym.
tama na yung ano, tama na yung Junmar, tama na yung Japit. Can we sit them down this against Guam? Kahit si Japit, kahit wag na. Play the young guys. Let's play one. Let's integrate those guys. Ito yung mga perfect time to integrate new guys to the system. Also, why is Javi still not with Gilas? Kaya ano
Good
na shooter, di
question.
ba? Those are
At
the kind of guys you need.
at least one is there. I would say that's progress for sure.
Yeah, that's
That
progress
kid's the
after
future, bro.
even after scoring in the I don't know, in quotient system is like, okay, fine. I still like it too much. Uh,
Hey, that was such a
okay.
great game, by the way. That performance
You
was
converge.
amazing. You know
Converge in
what I've
Ebra.
always admired about one is pag mas malaki yung game, mas mataas yung stakes, gumaganda yung performance niya. Elevates.
Di siya naboboard.
Always
Dapat
elevates.
di siya naboboard.
Damn.
Dapat
Dick.
locked in siya eh.
Locked in. But anyway, Nico, thanks for joining me. Super appreciate it, even if it was a late recording. And I'll be seeing you around for the games, man. Thank you.
See you now. Thank you. Tagal na usapan natin. Tumagal pala.
Take care, bro.
See you.